On August 28th, Elon Musk and his team over at Neuralink demonstrated the progress they've made with their brain-machine interface by playing with 3 pigs on stage. I'm Dr. Trevor Miner. I'm a physical therapist. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Now, if you're not familiar with Neuralink, it's a startup by billionaire Elon Musk aiming to build a machine-brain interface that's implantable in the brain. Now, what we're seeing early on is the ability to record and interpret information coming from the brain. In fact, they use these pigs to demonstrate that they were able to sense when the pig's snout was touching different things all around the stage. Now, that's not that impressive, but they did also show some video of a pig walking on a treadmill, and they compared the data taken from a camera that was identifying and objectifying the motion at the different joints in the pig, and compared that to the information they got from the neuronal implant to compare the motion patterns between the two. Surprisingly, the implant was able to very closely predict the movement patterns that were observed with the camera. So the current version of this device, it's about the size of a large coin, a little less than 1 inch in diameter, about 1/3 of an inch in thickness, similar to the skull. But the intention is that you remove a section of the skull, implant the device, and with a machine, a robot, insert the various fibers down into the surface of the brain, okay? Now, what's interesting here is that while current systems that are in use, like a deep brain stimulator that we're familiar with Parkinson's patients, those use 4 to 8 electrodes, less than 10, definitely. But this, the current version, is at over 1,000 electrodes, and they're anticipating increasing that as they go along. So with increased electrodes, there's a lot more information that's able to be recorded and analyzed to aid in better implementation with this device. Now, certainly this presentation was focused on the recording of the information. In other words, no signals were sent from the device to the brain itself. Rather, the device received the information, transmitted it wirelessly via Bluetooth, and that information was interpreted with the computers there. Even still, with just this information, there's a lot that could be done to aid people, especially with quadriplegia, which just happens to be exactly what Neuralink is focusing on with their initial trials. Now, they haven't begun human trials as of yet, but they're hoping to do that soon. The belief is that with this device, you should be able to help someone with quadriplegia control computers with very high accuracy. Now, if you happen to watch this presentation, you will note that Elon Musk had a lot of sky-high ideas of what this device should be able to do, including playing video games. Now, while that sounds fascinating, I'm glad that we're first starting off with the medical approach and helping to alleviate suffering for those with quadriplegia. Now, if we look at some of the potential for this device, simply looking at the recording or analyzing of the data from the brain, certainly the idea that we can control different devices with our brain is high on the list of possibilities. The thing we didn't see demonstrated here was the stimulating of the brain by the electrodes to change something in the brain. Now, that seems a bit different to me than just recording and analyzing information. I am interested to see when they get to that point and they can demonstrate that the stimulating of the various areas of the brain can actually have some impact. Now, if you look at the potentials for this, we're looking at things like stopping pain, literally interfering and alleviating pain, reducing mental illness, depression, those types of things. If you really think out, there's a lot that this could help. And because of that, I'm really excited. Now, certainly there are a lot of barriers in the way. And you know what, honestly, Elon Musk and his team over at Neuralink, they're not the first ones to do this. but they are certainly making it more interesting. They're bringing it out in front of everybody, making it exciting, and they're approaching it in a different way than most have. Now, when I'm looking at the device, I do have some questions about the long-term use and viability of a device like this. Certainly, it's going to have to be replaced periodically, which was noted by the team there at Neuralink. But also, we're not really clear, we're not certain how the brain will respond to that stimulation aspect over a long period of time. Now, we can glean a little bit of understanding from the DBS, but this is a whole different level. I mean, we're orders of magnitude, as Elon would say, orders of magnitude more complicated than a DBS system. So if that's removed from the brain after having been in for several years, what is going to happen from that? I think that's important. We really need to know that, and it's going to take a long time, even in their current trials with pigs, to really see what the effects of that would be. Now, another big thing here is that, as I'm aware, they don't currently have any therapists on board over there at Neuralink. Certainly, if they're aiming to help people with quadriplegia and doing a lot of these things, they should have some therapists, PTs, OTs, STs on board, helping them specifically when they get into human trials. While I don't personally believe this is closer than maybe 10 years out for real human application, despite what Elon says, I do find this incredibly fascinating. I think this is something we need to be keen on and focused on, because it's certainly going to play a role in future rehabilitation of our patients. That's all for today. Thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.